When you finally allow yourself to love yourself, to accept yourself, to be your true self, that is the moment when everything will start changing in your life. Not overnight, but gradually you will start noticing the shift. And more than anything, it will be noticeable in your romantic and family and friendships dynamic. Even at work, depends. And you will ask me, how do you step into that person, right? How do you find yourself? Well, how do you find yourself, your true self, is that you stop pretending being someone you're not for the sake of fitting in, for the sake of being liked, for the sake of being accepted. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. So don't even get me started on that you don't know what it looks like. And yes, maybe your mask has blended with your true personality because you've been wearing that mask for so long, but there is still a difference because your intuition will tell you exactly where you are and where the mask begins. And in the moments where you realize that you don't want to pretend anymore, you don't want to fake it anymore. You don't want to be that persona that you created to fit in or to be liked or to be accepted or to sound like you're interesting or you're mysterious or you're fascinating. And then there is this empty space within you that makes you miserable day after day after day, even if on the outside everything looks like you got it all together. The biggest problem with a lot of people these days is that on the outside they look awesome. On the outside it looks like they figured the life. They figured it all. On paper, like to check mark, right? They live in a beautiful house, they drive a wonderful car, beautiful, luxurious car. They date somebody who is good looking, who is successful on paper. Yet in the meantime, there is this rotten situation going inside where nothing fills you up. On emotional level, there is emptiness, there is bitterness, there is always this feeling like something is missing. There is always this feeling that you are living someone else's life but not yours. And there is this, at times, feeling of betrayal of the self. And if this is like resonating on how you feel, then stay a little bit longer. Let's talk about it. I was that person. I was that person because I was that person. I just was that person. And I didn't know at that time that I was that person. I knew something. My intuition was telling me something. It was telling me like, it's like, like this bug or fly that will be just flying and flying, and you're like, just leave me alone, just get out of here. Something was buzzing, but I was not listening. I was not paying attention. It was just annoying me, if I'm completely honest, like that fly that annoys, right? And then how I see it right now, looking back, is that by those nudges from my intuition, from my inner knowing that I considered as annoying and buzzing noise, these were the nudges from my spirit guides, guardian angels, and from God, from universe, from all that is, that something needs to change. And because my ego was stubborn and I was not willing to recognize, and of course, it's the fear of change, it's the fear of the unknown, and also the stubbornness of admitting to yourself that something indeed has to change, that something indeed has to go, or to change or to transform, like that unwillingness to accept the fact that you're not living your best life, but you're too scared to admit it even to yourself, not even talking about others. And what happens in those situations when you are ignoring the calls from God, from universe, from all that is, you will be thrown in a massive tower moment, one after another, until you finally awaken to the fact that something has to change. Something has to change in not only in your reality, but in who you are being in that reality. And I feel again, like with that message that was, I don't know, I tried to record twice, it just didn't flow. So I decided to completely shift it, and that's why I'm not even, by the way, this is the card of marriage and happiness and celebration in the community and in your life in general. So but that's why I don't even touch tarot cards. I don't even shuffle, because the cards right now are not really necessary, because I know who I'm talking to, and I know what I want to say. I know what God wants to say through me. Basically, the message is, if you felt stuck, if you felt like you are not living the life that you're supposed to live, if you feel like you're living someone else's life and it's exhausting and it's tiring, it needs to change. And whether you realize it or not, like if you don't make a conscious decision to make that change, universe will bring that change to you in a very unpleasant form. Trust me, in a very unpleasant form. So whatever needs to go, it will go regardless whether you hold on to it or not. If it's a relationship that is not supposed to be in your life anymore, I am telling you, it will not be in your life. But there are two scenarios where you listen to the nudges of your inner voice and ending the relationship with properly communicating and saying, hey, it's not working for me, this is not what I want. Or the universe will make a massive entrance in making you leave the relationship. Or quite often what happens is that the person you're with will leave most of the time. Not always, but that's a tower moment situation very often, where you're stubborn and you don't want to leave the person, they will leave you. And it's not to scare you that somebody will dump you or somebody will break up with you. No, that's not it. I'm just saying that if there was an inner nudge in your mind, those questions, where is my life going? What is going on? Why do I feel the way I feel? Where is this hollow emptiness? There's this hollow space inside of me, like that, no matter, like the void, that's the word that I was looking for. Void. This void is like this never satisfied animal and beast that no matter what you give it to, like no matter what you give to it's like this black hole inside of you that is never satisfied, that is never fully happy with pretty much anything, maybe just like for 1 second, and then it's hungry again, and then it's asking for you to give it, because that is your inner self. That is your inner self trying to bring to your attention that you are doing something that is not aligned with your true blueprint. Call it destiny. Something where you are stuck or too stubborn to admit that it has to go. A job, a relationship, a friendship, even family dynamic, guys, like believe it or not. But if your family dynamic is toxic, you don't have to be there. You don't have to be exposed to that toxicity for a long period of time. You don't have to completely cut it if you don't want to, but you don't have to expose yourself to toxicity. Like, you wouldn't go to a warehouse full of barrels of toxic waste, right? And just immerse yourself completely in there. You won't do that. Then why are you exposing yourself to toxicity among people, even if you don't like those people? And I know the root cause of all of that because I went through all of that. It is the fear of rejection, it is the fear of abandonment. And at the end of the day, all of those fears is the fear that nobody will love you, that you are not lovable, that they will think that you are not lovable. And of course, everything stems from your childhood, from your upbringing. But if there were this nudges in your thoughts, in your feelings, that something is not right in your life, that something doesn't feel right, something is not aligned, and you cannot give it explanation, this is your higher self is trying to communicate with you, and showing you that something has to change. And if you are with the person, let's say, to give you an example, because that was the vibe that I was feeling from the very beginning when I was trying to record you those messages. Let's say you are in a romantic relationship and you love that person, and in one shape or form that person loves you too, but they mistreat you, they disrespect you, they and by saying that in one shape or form they love you, like they love you to a level of their understanding of love, which doesn't have to be a true love to begin with, and like real love, unconditional love. That's not what I'm saying. Their understanding of how love looks like based on how they received love in their life. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's say that person constantly lets you down, that person makes promises, never delivers. You cannot rely on that person in any shape or form, whether it's a woman or a man. You don't feel intimacy with them, emotional intimacy. It's like they're treating you that it's kind of nice that you're there, but if you're gone, it will be nice too. You know what I mean? And the question that I have for you is why are you tolerating that? And I know the answer to that, but you need to come to the answer to that. I know the answer why, but I want you to come to the answer, to yourself, and make a weighing the pros and cons and everything, and making a decision, what do you want to do from there. And there is a really, really amazing journaling prompt. You don't have to journal. You don't have to be familiar with what journaling is, but journaling is a wonderful way of structurizing your thought process into a structured structure, instead of having all those like ruminating thoughts and like a chaotic way of those coming and going and staying, because it creates a lot of clarity. It creates a lot of chaos and unclarity. Sorry, I misspoke. And every single time I talk about the monkey mind, every single time I talk about the mind being like, "Wee, wee, wee," like the Canadian geese fly by and they start to be like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah." This is like, by now, I started associating those Canadian geese, even though I love them so much. But in the intuitive messages that I'm bringing to you, very like, this is the second time when I am doing an intuitive message with no tarot, and every single time I touch base on the monkey mind, on the ruminating thoughts, they start like going nuts, I'm telling you. And what I was talking about is journaling, that you can use journaling to structurize your thought process by asking questions and answering, asking questions and answering. You can even take a piece of paper and a pen and write down, or in your phone and just write down. Let's say in this instance, it can be applied to any situation in your life. It doesn't matter as long as it's called relationship, family, friendship, romantic, anything, even work relationship sometimes can be. It depends, like, because dynamic there is a little bit different. But what you can do, let's say we're still using that example of a relationship, that you take a piece of paper or write it down on your phone and say, and ask yourself, how do I feel with that person? How do I feel with name? And answer. How do you feel? For real. For real. Be honest. Because after that, you will burn or rip off, rip off, or how do you call it? Rip into many pieces, or put it in the water. You will destroy that paper. Okay? Or not, if you don't want to. So ask yourself that question. How do you feel with them? And if the answer is that you feel unsettled, that your nervous system is always on alert, if you feel like you are in fight or flight mode all the time, like your nervous system is always alert when you are with that person, this is a bad red flag right there. This is already a massive sign to you that you are with the wrong person, or that it needs to be communicated properly, and see what is going to be the result of it. So ask yourself, how do I feel with that person? If the answer is I feel unsettled, I feel emotionally dysregulated, I feel in this fight or flight mode all the time, I feel always alert, anxious, worried, and so on and so on, you name it. And then the next question should be, why am I with that person? Why am I still with that person? And answer it for real. And like the answer is like, but because I love them. No, I'm not gonna accept them. Sorry, no, not gonna accept those kind of answers because I love them. This is not love to begin with. This is attachment style, and about that we will talk maybe a little bit later. But for those of you who are not familiar with attachment theory, there are three main categories in attachment styles in every human being. One of them is called anxious, another one is called avoidant, and the third one is called secure. So well, how much time do we have? Well, I'll touch base super quickly on them, because if you're someone who is more in a chasing mode, most likely you are anxious, because again, there is this fear of abandonment, there is this fear of rejection, and you're chasing that relationship that the person is actually trying to run away from you. You feel like they're running away from you, that they're avoiding intimacy, that they're avoiding like making plans, they're constantly letting you down, they're not taking that relationship seriously, they're treating you like option, because they don't want to be in a committed relationship with you, because they are avoidant attachment, because again, everything stems from their upbringing, from how their parents or caregivers were showing them love, like emotional attachment, like showing them how their family was taking care of them, basically. And secure is, of course, someone who is communicating their needs, their emotions, their feelings, their wants, their goals, their plans properly. And then they have no issues expressing their plans and saying, hey, I like you, I would like to build a family with you, or something, like proper communication, right? And they have no issue communicating their emotions, because they understand that proper communicating their feelings, their emotions, is showing emotional intelligence to begin with, but also that it is the key to a successful relationship. Okay? So, anyway, I'm not gonna go too deep on that. Like, if you guys want, I can create a whole video about attachment styles, because, guys, I'm telling you, the attachment theory was was a freaking game changer for me. When there was a time in my life where I didn't know all that, right? And I was that anxious attachment style person who fell in love with the avoidant. So, fell in love. No, it was not love. It was attachment style. Masked and mistaken for love, for passion. It was not love. It was your nervous system reacting. Reacting. According to your attachment style, it wasn't love. That is the problem of a lot of us who mistaken love and passion and attraction and spark and this fire with love, with attraction, where actually is your nervous system reacting to how they treat you, and your nervous system is activating the attachment style that you're prone to. So if you're interested in me talking a little bit more about this attachment theory, like, it's a game changer, guys. Like, it's a game changer, I'm telling you. Or if you don't want me to create a video, that's totally okay. But go and read the book called Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel. Oh my God. Amir Levine and Rachel. I forgot her last name. Anyway, Amir Levine, you will find it. It's the white book with the two magnets over there. You will recognize that book immediately. Incredible, 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 helpful for the people who feel lost in the relationship, or for people who don't know where the relationship is going, or for people to have just a better understanding in how to properly understand the dynamic of the relationship, or how to properly protect yourself, like when you're in the dating pool, when you're in a dating scene, and how to be equipped with the right tools to not get involved from the get-go with the wrong person. Let's say if you are an anxious, how to not get involved with an avoidant, because at the end of the day, nothing good is going to come out of this relationship anyway, okay? But anyways, what was I saying, guys? What was I saying? I'm trying to wrap up this meeting, this message, the journaling. Thank you, Spirit. Journaling. So ask yourself, like, why am I with that person? And how, like, do I see myself with that person? How do I want that relationship to look? Do I want that relationship to keep going? Do you want to, and then be very honest with yourself and ask yourself, do I want to end this relationship? And don't give in. Answer the very first thing that comes in the very 3 seconds to your mind. Don't overthink it. Ask the question, don't overthink the answer. Whatever comes to your mind, this is your higher self speaking. Without overthinking, the very first 3 seconds, whatever comes in your mind in those 3 seconds, write it down. It's a simple question. Do I want to be with that person? And it's a simple answer, yes or no, yes or no. And whatever, even right now, what came to your mind? What came to your mind? You don't even have to answer to me, answer to yourself. So I call it situationship. I call it situationship where there is no clarity in who you are to each other, how where you're going in that relationship. But maybe you are in a relationship for a long time, but you feel like this let's say you've been married, or you've been you've been with somebody for a long time, but then something's starting falling apart. And then because there is no, I always say, communication is the key to a successful relationship. Proper communication, open communication, honest communication, and not from a place of accusing somebody from anything. Because the moment you start with the energy of you did this and you did that, the other person will immediately feel that energy, and they will immediately get into the defensiveness. They will energetically feel it, and they will feel attacked. And when somebody feels attacked, what do? They defend. And immediately your conversation is not going to go anywhere. I can guarantee you that. If not at all, anywhere, it will end worse than it began. Just believe me on that. So if you're trying, let's say, if you are someone, if the viewer, you you're someone who was in, or who is in a relationship for a long time, Oh my God, those birds are so beautiful. Um, if you're in a relationship with someone and then, you hit a little bit of a problematic period, let's call it that, and then you guys are not communicating properly, and some of you guys need to change the approach. If you, like, again, let's say if you did journaling prompts, you answered that, yeah, you know what, I want to be with that confirmation. I want to be with that person, but something has to change. And waiting for them to change is not going to take you far. So you need to do something. You need to make a change in yourself. You need to either change the approach, like, what comes to my mind? Hanged man. Hanged man comes to my mind. Is that changing the perspective, changing the approach to how you communicate, changing the approach of how you deal with whatever is going on in your relationship, and communicating like completely properly, like communicating from an energy of like, hey, I want this relationship to work, but I need certain things to change because by you doing this and that, it makes me feel this and that. And when I feel this and that, I don't feel like I'm seen. I don't feel like I'm heard. I don't feel like I'm loved or understood. And doesn't, based on those feelings, it's not really good feelings to feel in a relationship, right? From your romantic partner. So if you come from a place where you're trying to honestly speak about it, but not from a place of you are accusing someone doing something that led to you feeling this and that, just openly and honestly saying, hey, I would like to talk and I would like you to listen without interrupting. I would like you to hear me out and try to take a few deep breaths in before you start talking, and then express it. Even write it down if you want, so if it helps you. And then ask the person to not interrupt you, to just listen, to give you that safe space where you feel safe to self-express, to be yourself, to talk freely without feeling judged, without feeling that the other person is attacking you, just being in flow with what you want to say. And then if the other person wants to say something, you give them that free space and safe space to share. This is feminine energy of allowing, of listening, and not attacking, but just receiving and allowing the person to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel understood without attacking, without defending, but truly, truly, truly feeling safe in the relationship. Especially if you're a divine feminine, like for women, it is extremely important to feel safe. And unfortunately, nobody is teaching our men how to do that, how to be that self container, how to be that safe container for the feminine, for the women, how to listen to them without attacking them, how to listen and deal with the emotions and properly process those emotions, understanding that women are very different from men. Women are way more emotional, women are way more like fluctuating in emotions, and women are in generally like talking about emotions way more. Anyway, guys, I hope that message was helpful for you. And you know, uh, there are Two of Cups. Like for some of you guys, something is ending. For some of you guys, something is beginning again. For those of you guys who decided that you want to stay in that relationship and you want to work on that relationship, you know what I'm getting for some of you guys? There was a period when you separated, but you decided to get back together, and there is going to be a celebration about that and reunion with the Two of Cups and the Four of Wands here. There will be a reunion of those of you. I feel again, not for all of you, but for some of you guys who are separated with your romantic partner, and then you decided to get back because you did some work on the self. And again, choices are always yours. I truly do believe that people change if they are willing to change. So if you are willing to make a change, then make a change. And if your person is willing to make a change, then good for them. But if they are not willing to change anything, and you have that growth mindset and you want to change and you want to move forward, but you guys are misaligned. I mean, the decision is yours, but I think the outcome is very obvious in those kind of scenarios. So, but you know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, Spirit is telling you that you're the magician. You are the creator of your reality. You are the ultimate creator of what you see as a result in your life. How much time do we? I intended this to be a short reading. Well, it's relatively short, according to my standards at least. Hold on. I will ask for a card. Hold on. Spirit. Spirit, what do you have for the collective? What is your final advice? Parting message? Wisdom. What is your advice, Spirit? What is your advice? What is your advice for the collective? What would you like to say? Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? Okay. What else? Okay. And one more. One more. Okay. 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 Interesting, guys. So I am getting an advice for only specific of for not all of you. For those of you guys who are in a relationship, or maybe it is for you all, I don't know. But what I'm getting is that for you guys who are in a relationship where you know the truth that this relationship is not going anywhere and that you should break up with the person, but and right now you are in this stalemate energy, you are in this energy of procrastinating on a decision, on procrastinating on making a difficult decision, and you are kind of lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself by procrastinating. And while you're procrastinating, you're lying to yourself, well, maybe something will change. Oh, I'll give it another month. Or I'll give it another 3 months or something like that. And I will see how that person, will behave. Will not will behave, but what they will do and they will change and blah, blah, blah. You're kind of like giving yourself those mental timelines where you're literally procrastinating on making a decision that will lead to a massive change in your life. I know it's going to be a good change, but you are fearful of what kind of change is that, because separation, splitting up is always a change. And in your case, I can guarantee it's going to be the change for best, but in that moment, you are not recognizing that. I can tell you that. The star, with the star, I want to talk a little bit about the star, is that Spirit wants you to know that you are not alone and that you are on the right path. So stop procrastinating. Whatever your inner voice is telling you to do, do it. And stop procrastinating. If your inner voice is telling you that this relationship is bringing you only unhappiness, then you know what to do. And you are supported. You are supported by Spirit. And Spirit wants you to, um, tune in a little bit into more youthful self, like this passionate, useful self. Like, Spirit wants you to find things that bring you joy, even if you're in the midst of not so joyful period. Okay, because like I'm telling you guys, you are with the Five of Cups again here. You are you're procrastinating on making that decision, but also you're kind of while you're procrastinating, what you're telling to yourself is like, well, maybe they will change, or maybe they will, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself, like, finding excuses for that person that you're with, that, oh, they're too busy to spend some time with me, blah blah blah, like all those excuses that you're finding to excuse that person. It's just a procrastination period, guys. It's just a procrastination tactics of your mind. Guys, your beautiful new beginnings are coming. All you need to do is actually come to the shore and wait for your ships to come. Oh, it smells so good. Somebody is roasting peanuts. Oh, it smells so good. Never smelled that smell before here. Your ships are coming, but you also need to meet your ships halfway too. You need to come to the shore to meet your ships, because if you don't come to the shore, it doesn't matter how many ships are going to come. They will go. They will leave. Whatever it is that ships are in your case. A last message. Spirit, can you give me a last? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Allow what wants to leave to leave. Allow what wants to end to end. Allow what wants to crumble to crumble. Allow the changes to happen. You're strong. You'll be fine. You're strong. With the strength card here. I'm telling you, you can handle a separation if this is what you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do, okay? The final decision is always yours. You're at the finish line, guys. I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you, you see? I wanted to say I'm telling you, but I said I'm feeling you because I am. Okay, Spirit, hold on. One more message. Guidance, wisdom, advice. Offer some guidance, Spirit. Offer some guidance. Do not worry what is coming, because not only your ships are coming, but those ships are coming to fill your cups. 9 of Cups. Your happiness is not even in question. As long as you allow the endings to end, the crumblings to crumble, and what's not meant to be in your life to leave and to end. Allow the endings to end. And the ships are coming with so much goodness you cannot even imagine right now. So don't fear the changes, because through the changes you grow, through the changes you evolve, through the changes you learn, and through the changes you are stepping on the path that your soul chose to walk in this lifetime. The Tower. Okay, guys, I don't even know if I should. Yeah, your ships are coming. Just come to the shore, baby. Come to the shore. Meet your ships halfway, okay? Your happiness, your 9 of Cups are coming. Your ships that will feel. It can be opportunities. It can be new people. It can be new friends. It can be new union in like soulmates, like a community, a friendship, new beginnings in like career, perhaps. But you need to allow yourself to, if there is something that is like wanting to end, allow it to end. Don't try to hold on to it like your life depends on it, because your happiness depends on it. But if you let go, if you hold on, you will be unhappy. That's the thing. If you're trying to hold on to something that is trying to live your life, it will not bring you happiness. It will not bring you anything but misery, okay? So, guys, I don't know why I want to. Spirit, are the new ships coming soon? Are the ships coming soon? Are the ships coming soon? Hold on. When are the ships coming? There you go. I will rephrase it. When are the ships coming, Spirit? When are those ships coming? Well, when you end the things, that's what I just heard. Okay, I will ask another question. Spirit, advice for the collective at this time, and we will close. What is your advice, Spirit? Again, what is your advice? To end things when they want to end, okay? End the misery. End this misery. You don't want to feel left out in the cold anymore, don't you? and what makes you unhappy, and the relationships, the dynamics, the friendships, the romantic, like, that made you feel always left out in the cold, always let down, always like you don't, that you always have to battle, you know, within yourself, with like those people or that person. the the feeling of letting, like, of feeling let down all the time. Break up with that feeling. Break up with that feeling of always constantly feeling like you have to battle with that person, the feeling that you have to always like tell them how to love you and explain very, very simple things about love language, about how to love you. You should not explain that. Like, I mean, you should communicate your love language, but you shouldn't explain like normal things like, hey, let's say, like, a good example comes to my mind, like, that happened to me, where I don't know, we were going with my avoidant at that time. We're going somewhere, and I was like waiting, and I'm like, hey, I want you to open the door for me. And he looked at me, and like the protest behavior kicked in, and he's like, why? And I'm like, because I want to, because I'm a lady. And he's like, do you have hands? I'm like, yes. He's like, you can open it by yourself. I will open the door for you, not only when you don't tell me to open the door for you, but also like on only special occasions. And I was like, wow, wow. That was like really unsettling, like, seriously. So do you want to be treated like that? I don't think so. Neither did I. That's why I'm not in that situationship anymore. And that's okay to be alone, guys. Like, it's okay to be alone. I've been alone for a little while, and trust me, like, it's better to be alone, not for a little while, for a while. And it's okay. It's better to be alone, to, keep healing, or keep working on the self, keep working on your dream, keep working on what you want to create in this lifetime, rather than being in an unhappy relationship that drains you, that sucks the life out of you, and makes you feel like a piece of shit. A piece of shit that is not worth a stray animal. I don't know why stray animal comes in mind again. A stray animal, an animal that has been left out in the cold. Nobody cares for it. Nobody loves it. A stray animal that doesn't feel safe. Do you want to feel like that? No. No. Even a stray animal is a being and a feeling of God. And nobody should be treated like that. Nobody. Humans, animals, not even a single thing that was created on this planet or at all should not be mistreated. Not even like a tree or a flower. You know, I always tell to my son, when he's being a little bit not so gentle with like the branches, and I'm like, don't hurt it. It's alive. Don't hurt it. It's alive. It feels. It can feel everything. So you're the creation of spirit. You're the creation of God. You're the creation of universe, of all that is. So start acting like one. Start acting like one. And guys, if you have made it that far, you know what I wanted to mention is that if you are ready for a change and you need a little bit of guidance, if you need a little bit of like, a little bit of a push or a little bit of guidance in which direction to go, I can help you with that. If you're interested, feel free to comment in that video the word transformation, or message me directly in my Facebook or Instagram. The links is in my bio. You can read what I'm offering in my bio if you want, and let me know if that resonated with you, and if you want to make a change for something better in your life. Message me. Probably don't even comment here. It's going to be easier if you just DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and it's going to be discreet. Nobody will see it, and rather than me, and we will go from there. And I will book a call, a video call, as a meet and greet, and then getting to know you and seeing if we are a good match for one another to work together for towards your transformation. I love you guys, and I'm wishing you all the best, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye.